Let's start with the introduction to Microsoft 365. Before we talk about Microsoft 365 specifically, let's take a step back and think about what Microsoft is known for. What do you think when you think Microsoft? The first thing is probably Windows, and I'm sure that many of you are watching this on a Windows operating system right now, such as Windows 7 or Windows 10. We also have the popular Microsoft Office, which contains Word, PowerPoint, Excel, OneNote, and so on, and those are just both on the consumer, as well as the business side. But if we look at the business side more specifically, we also have Microsoft Azure and the Office 365 cloud platforms, and lastly, security and device management solutions such as Intune, System Center Configuration Manager, and so on. So what does this have to do with Microsoft 365? Microsoft 365 is positioned as a complete solution for your enterprise productivity needs. Microsoft 365 is a single subscription which gives you access to Windows 10, Office 365, which includes the Office client, and the enterprise mobility and security tools, also known as EMS. As Microsoft puts it, it's a single solution that gives you all of the tools that you need for productivity inside your organization in a single subscription. Let's take a look more in detail at each of those products. First of all, Office 365. Office 365 is a software as a service suite offering Microsoft's latest collaboration tools. It includes tools such as Exchange for emails, SharePoint for enterprise collaboration, Microsoft Teams, and Skype for business for instant communication, Yammer, which is an enterprise social network. It also includes the full Office suite so you can have Word, PowerPoint, Excel, OneNote on your computer, as well as in the browser, and multiple other tools such as Flow, Power Apps, Stream, Planner, and many more. Next up in our overview of Microsoft 365 services is Windows 10. Microsoft 365 comes with Windows 10 Enterprise for each user, so you really have the best version of Windows 10 included. Even if it doesn't look at least today that Microsoft will release a new version of Windows anytime soon, by being subscribed to Microsoft 365, you'll always have access to the latest version of Windows available. Next up in the list of tools included is the Microsoft Enterprise Mobility and Security Suite, most often called EMS. EMS is an intelligent mobility management and security platform, and it helps protect and secure your organization and empowers your employees to work in new and flexible ways. EMS contains multiple tools for multiple purposes. For identity and access management, we have Azure Active Directory, and Microsoft 365 actually includes Azure Active Directory Premium, which gives you a lot of features not found in the basic version. We also have different tools for managing devices and apps with Microsoft Intune and System Center Configuration Manager. For threat protection, we actually have quite a few products that complement each other depending on what workload you are trying to protect. We have Microsoft Advanced Threat Analytics, Windows Defender Advanced Threat Protection, Office 365, and Azure Advanced Threat Protection. This is not all. I actually need to put a second slide because there are so many tools in EMS. We also have the information protection part, which is Office 365 data loss prevention, Azure Information Protection, and the Microsoft Cloud App Security that allow you to govern, for example, what kind of files can be shared outside of the organization, what type of files can be sent by email. You could automatically block, let's say, patient records from being sent by email to an external recipient. So you have a lot of flexibility in how you govern your information. Lastly, we have the Microsoft Security and Compliance Center as an easy portal where you can manage security across the Microsoft 365 suite. Next up is Microsoft Azure. Microsoft Azure is an ever-expanding set of cloud services to help your organization meet your business challenges. There are multiple Azure services included in your Microsoft 365 subscription, such as Azure Active Directory, and multiple others we have named just a few seconds ago. However, there are a ton of other services that you can leverage at a separate cost. Those services are a pay-per-usage model, so you can consume the ones you need for as long as you need. The advantage of leveraging Azure instead of other competing products such as AWS is that since you're in the Microsoft stack already, you can make sure that all of the services you use will really be integrated. When I said ever-expanding a few seconds ago, it's because Microsoft Azure has been the cloud platform that probably added the most new offerings over the past years. And when it initially got released, it was mostly for virtual machines and infrastructure as a service. But now there are over 100 different services that Microsoft Azure provides, and only in the compute category shown in the website screenshot on the slide, you can see over 10 different services. So let's concentrate on the top 2 use cases in the most popular ones used in Azure. First of all, Azure Infrastructure as a Service, which is what Azure started with and probably still one of the most popular offerings. Azure Infrastructure as a Service, or Azure Compute, allows you to create virtual machines, virtual networks, and storage of all sizes and run the different workloads you might need in the cloud instead of needing to host your own services in the data center. As you might already know, Microsoft is a lot more open to other platforms these days, so it's not only limited to Windows. There's a wide variety of virtual machines, including Linux virtual machines, that you can use on those virtual machines. There's a wide array of operating systems that you can use on those virtual machines. Another very popular part of Azure is the platform as a service part of Azure with tools such as App Service, Azure Web Apps, and Azure Logic Apps, allowing you to create apps and workflows and only focus on the code without needing to worry about the hardware, availability, and network in the back. Simply create your app and publish it worldwide on the Azure infrastructure in a matter of minutes. Lastly, Azure Stack, which is an extension of Azure that allows you to leverage the Azure platform in your data center and hybrid scenarios. This allows you to run applications on the same platform on the edge, which is a bit of Microsoft marketing talk for hybrid cloud, as well as fully disconnected solutions. It allows you to run cloud applications that connect to local data that remains on-premises for regulatory requirements, but keep a single development DevOps and maintenance stack. So this way, we're sure developers know how to code for Azure, and your IT pros know how to manage it. They only have a single platform to manage, even if sometimes the data is in the cloud and other times it's on-premises. There are multiple versions of Microsoft 365. First of all, on the enterprise side, we have Microsoft 365 E3 and E5, E5 being the one with the most features, as well as Microsoft 365 F1, which is for field workers. The big difference between E3 and E5 is in the services that are included, but mostly the plan of each service. For example, Microsoft 365 E5 has Azure AD Premium Plan 2, where E3 has Azure AD Premium Plan 1. The F1 plan is for field workers and contains only the online version of Office, and not the hard client version, so it's really much cheaper than the Enterprise or E versions. There's also a version of Microsoft 365 in that smaller enterprise called Microsoft 365 Business. However, it's limited to a maximum of 300 users, over which you need to go to the enterprise version of the subscription. Now, where do Microsoft 365 services fit inside the different cloud computing services? From an infrastructure as a service point of view, we have Microsoft Azure Compute, which allows us to create virtual machines in a matter of seconds. From a platform as a service perspective, we have Azure Logic Apps, Azure Web Apps, and a ton of other services that reside inside the Azure platform. Lastly, for software as a service, we have the Microsoft Office 365 collaboration platform. From a cloud deployment model point of view, Office 365 and Azure both reside inside the public cloud, whereas private and hybrid clouds would use Azure Stack to run our applications. For a community cloud, we have specialized versions of Azure and Office 365, such as Azure and Office 365 Government, and even for specific countries that have special regulatory requirements, such as Office 365 Germany and Office 365 China, operated by 21 Vianet. Those specific versions of Office 365 and Azure actually get features months, if not maybe even years later than the public cloud version, because of all of the additional certifications they must go through in order to satisfy the requirements for those client communities.